Hi guys, this is Voyager 2099 and I'm here with a review on The Batman. I'm gonna try and do this review with some old gameplay in the background. Please excuse that kind of humming noise, it's the best I can do, but really I'm just here to kind of give a short review, give some of my opinions and see if you like them pretty much. But I'll just say that on my channel I have some walkthrough videos. Currently I'm doing Dying Light 2 and Spider-Man as a walkthrough. I'm looking to get some gameplay possibly on Modern Warfare and Ghost of Tsushima. But beyond that, there's nothing else I can say about my channel. I am writing a book as well. If you really want to check it out, it's called well, it's called Memoirs of a Voyager. But anyway, that was really where I got my name. But let's just dive into this review. So, the Batman movie. This was the first movie I watched after Spider-Man No Way Home in the cinema. Spider-Man No Way Home was pretty good. This movie, I'm honestly gonna say I was shocked because when I watched that first trailer that came out way back when, I saw some of the things that was gonna happen, and initially my views were not so great because that trailer was kind of, how can I explain this? There was really only two moments that kind of appealed to me. One being where Batman pretty much walks up to that group of thugs saying, "I'm vengeance," and everything, and beats them up and beats up that one guy really, until his soul has pretty much left his body. And the other thing was seeing the Batmobile, because it was something a bit different, a bit new, and yeah, that was pretty much what really stood out to me personally. Anyway, so after I watched that, I thought, was it just me that thought that wasn't so great? So what I did was I did a little bit of research and saw other people's reactions on the same trailer, and pretty much they were pretty stagnant throughout that whole trailer until those two moments came up. So from what I gathered, I thought this wasn't going to be as good or great as, let's say, Christian Bale's Batman trilogy or Ben Affleck's. But I still had a little bit of hope, so the only way I could really see what was going to happen was by watching the movie like everyone else. I'm going to try and make this review pretty much as spoiler free as possible as I can. But diving into the actual movie, first of all, it was 3 hours, and that seems like it's a bit too long. However, in this case, I would feel that it is justified because you have the Riddler as the main villain, and the Riddler being the Riddler, he's not going to be that kind of person that's loads of action explosion-y kind of ones. He's more methodical, and therefore Batman has to be the same. This movie primarily is therefore focusing on the detective aspect and showing Batman being the greatest detective in the world, which is shown in this case where he has to follow a trail that's left by the Riddler himself, where he's done various activities, and across those activities he obviously will be bumping into other characters from that universe. And yeah, that was pretty much what kind of goes on within this movie itself, not going into too much detail obviously. But moving on to the next point that I would say is that Matt Reeves does some things that are brilliantly executed within this version of his Batman movie. One being that this movie is a lot darker and grittier, and that is shown immediately as the movie begins, with Gotham basically being on edge, showing various crimes occurring. And therefore it builds this kind of necessity around Gotham itself requiring Batman to stop it and protect it. Similar to the likes of Batman Arkham Knight at the beginning, but just not as crazy because this is Batman in his early years. But another thing that was done really well was Batman himself, and showing that duality with Bruce Wayne really seeing Batman as who he is over Bruce Wayne, the playboy. And within this movie, it's very one-sided. Batman activities are more dominant, and even to Bruce himself, he sees them being more important to him over the playboy's kind of side of things, and the playboy kind of Bruce Wayne activities. But in this case, we see that as a new thing in comparison to Christian Bale's version, who really had it shown across as being a bit more balanced. The same could be similar. The same could be kind of said for Ben Affleck's version, but because Ben Affleck really didn't have a solo movie, you can't say much. But from what I gathered across the few movies he's in, it kind of seems like it's a bit more balanced, and he uses his Bruce Wayne's persona kind of thing to kind of gather more information and use it as a tool. But it was new, I'll just say that. But the movie as a whole, it just is there to show Batman against the Riddler, and really this sets a foundation indicating that there's so much more in terms of characters and villains that could turn up in the sequels in the future. But it was really just that foundation that needed to be set. One thing I'll say about this movie is that Batman has been Batman for the past 2 years, and this kind of made me laugh a little. I really do not remember anybody in this entire movie referring to him as the Batman or Batman. Nor does anyone really trust the guy. Yet they'll have a bat signal set up for him, just to call him whenever. Moving on from that, I'll say that Pattinson's Batman itself is different as well in his style of fighting, because unlike Christian Bale's Batman, who is trained by Ra's al Ghul, and that's very more on the side of the original comics, where he is that kind of guy who's trained in various types of martial arts and stuff. This isn't really seen as well with Pattinson's Batman, but obviously it is kind of early days, and I'm not sure if Reeves intended to kind of make this Batman in that way, where he's just that guy who just suits up and does whatever with whatever he knows in terms of fighting crime and stopping it the best way he can. As a whole, I will say that I did enjoy this take. It was very different. Personally, I would have loved a bit more of action. If it were up to me, I would also say that this would be the perfect kind of setting for even more brutal type of Batman that really would not care for anything or that had occurred, and really more like Ben Affleck's Batman, who was based on the Dark Knight Returns comics by Frank Miller. If you haven't read or watched the animated movies, I recommend you do, because that type of Batman is my personal favourite, and I think that one, if he had a solo movie like Affleck was originally supposed to, would have been very successful in a setting like this. But who knows? I don't think they'll ever want to do that now. But they could show it off with this Pattinson's Batman. ultimately it's just up to the director himself. But we'll just see what happens anyway. I would give this movie a 6 or 7 out of 10 if I had to rate it. And I will just say I am looking forward to sequels. As I love to see where they would go with this version of Batman, and to see how he grows into becoming the real kind of version of the Dark Knight. Now, I'm going to end this review there before I give away so many spoilers, but I will try and do a quick review, another one with spoilers, and well, I will just go down into spoilers and give more ideas on where I would think these sequels are going. Now, once again, I'm gonna say, if you really did enjoy this, please like, subscribe, share, and check out my book. But nothing else can be said. I really actually do want to say one thing else. This movie came out the same month as Moon Knight, which is basically Marvel's version of Batman, and I really want to see Moon Knight and see how that goes against this. So if you want to let me know which one you think is better, Moon Knight or Batman, put it down in the comments. And yeah, I'm just going to end it there. Please like, subscribe and share. Have a look at my book. Have a look at my other videos, walkthroughs. Any suggestions you want, any questions, please put them down in the comments. This is Voyager 2099 and I'm out of here. Bye.